you start here.
It's been a long season for a lot of those players, and for some of them it looked that tonight. You've lost that very proud and beaten run. What didn't quite work for you?
Well, I think we knew it was going to be a very difficult game. We've had difficult games with them, with Hungary, as other big nations have had. They're very difficult to break down, and we probably lacked a half yard, I would say, in terms of our real incisiveness. I think that was more the heat than the length of the season. The other factor is that we haven't played together for 3 months, but we've had 2 games in 6 months, and across these 4 games we're trying to balance having a look at things, finding out about players, and trying to win. And maybe I didn't quite get the balance of that right today, but we learned a lot from it, and I have to accept that sometimes you're not going to win matches, and you've got to ride the criticism that comes with it for the learning that should help us further down the line. But we are disappointed because, of course, if we're going to be a team that gets to the final stages of a World Cup, then these are the types of games that we have to win.
I'll let the other guys ask you more about the game itself, but before the game even started, your players took a knee, and over 30,000, mainly children in the stadium. There was very clear booing of England's players taking the knee. What were your thoughts on that?
Very surprised.
Shame.
But I think that that's why we do it. We do it to try to educate, and I think why young people can only be influenced by older people. So I think it's one of those that on a day like today, when we haven't played well enough and we haven't won the game, then it's probably better for me to accept the criticism that comes with that and talk about that more. But I totally understand the question. But I think for today I should just talk more about the football.
Was the heat, do you think that was the pivotal factor? Because it felt, I don't know how you feel, that the team didn't have that kind of pressure on the ball and the territory and the domination of possession that they normally have.
Yeah, I think there were two parts to that. One is that Hungary dropped a lot of players low, which drags you out of the areas that you perhaps want to be in midfield, and they used the ball well. We pressed very well on a number of occasions and won the ball high up the pitch, and either got throw-ins or a couple of half chances that came from that. And there were a couple of times where we just didn't have those distances right, and we went and they played through us, and then they had counter-attacks. We also turned over possession a couple of times cheaply in the middle of the field, which led to a couple of counter-attacks as well. So, I think the game on the balance of play is a draw. It's a harsh decision, but I knew when it was given it wouldn't be overturned on the penalty. But we didn't create enough clear chances to deserve to win the game.
You're genuinely puzzled, well, not puzzled that it wasn't overturned, because it looks, when you look back at it, it looked pretty soft, and the contact is initiated by the other player. That's what VAR's for, isn't it?
Yeah, look, again, I think I don't want to sit and criticise referees, because I don't think that's a route we should be going. It doesn't gain anything, and I think when you've lost it sounds sour. So I think the evidence is there for everybody to see the challenge. But I've got to focus on the other parts of the game that we were in control of, and that we've got to learn from and get better at.
John? Slide down.
Hi Gareth. Talking about control, you did seem to lack control a little bit in midfield at times. I mean, did you put that down to the way Hungary played, or was it young players who maybe didn't handle the emotions of the game, or just basic sort of individual mistakes?
Well, a bit of all three, really. I think we wanted to try certain players. We tried to balance some players who've come in, back players in particular, on the back of not a lot of football. So we're trying to manage that group with also knowing that we don't have Gerhi and Tamori for the first 2 matches. So trying to balance the minutes with some players. Trying to give people opportunities to see what they can do, but have some experience around them. And we need these sorts of games, It's the high-level games are the ones you find out the most about. And Hungary are a team who are improving enormously. They're obviously not one of the top 7 or 8 nations that we've got to be aiming to
tapasztalatot tudnak adni.
But if you're half a yard off against any team, then you're not going to get the results that you want.
Ollie, we'll come to you in a moment. We've just got Jack and we go out here.
Hey Gareth, obviously losing this game makes it harder to finish top of this group and get through to the Nations League finals. How does that affect your thinking, particularly the next 3 games this month, in terms of going for that first place versus trying to learn things for the future?
Well, I think across the 4 games, we've still got to find out about players. We don't have any friendlies between now and the World Cup, so the only opportunity to try things and to find out about people is within these games. And frankly, that's better than finding out in friendlies, because we're going to see them under pressure in matches where the quality of the opposition is good. So it doesn't really alter the way we view the period. As a coach, you've got to balance the disappointment with recognising, okay, what have we taken from it and what do we learn from it? Knowing that in this role it's different to most others, because of course the fallout from a defeat is always much greater. But I've got to be make sure that I keep everybody else on track.
Just on that, Gareth, did that match pose any genuine concerns for you, or do you see it as kind of circumstantial and these games as more for experimentation?
Yeah, I think that we have a pretty good idea of what our strongest team probably is. Quite a few of those players are coming, as I said, in off not an ideal preparation. But there's still a lot we can take and learn from the games. So, I don't enjoy losing football matches. It's a long time since we actually sat and got beaten across 90 minutes, so I don't like that feeling one bit. And the players are very disappointed in the changing room. But I've got to keep the balance of knowing what we tried, what we learned. I've personally got to keep that balance with the whole group.
Okay, time for 2 more. Ollie?
Gareth, I totally take your point about there being a time and a place for these kind of observations, but this match and the original idea that it was supposed to be behind closed doors was conceived as a punishment. Actually, it felt like there was an absolutely belting and very partisan atmosphere inside the stadium tonight. It didn't feel like much of a punishment. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, how that aligns with the decision is difficult to understand. I think I said that yesterday. From a development perspective, I want and need the team to be playing in front of supporters. But of course, that's not the point in this instance. So I'm torn on what we actually got from that, and actually what the reality should have been. So, yeah, I think that needs some consideration, without a doubt. In actual fact, the atmosphere when we arrived at the stadium, there were kids lining the streets. It was really friendly. They were waving when we were walking out to warm up, but I thought there were sort of pantomime boos when our team came out to warm up. That was different with the taking of the knee, but that felt like inherited thinking to me. And what I would say is I hear that still in our stadiums as well. So that's why we do it. That's why we continue to take that stand. and we will keep doing that as a team.
I have to finish with Nick here. You got Mike, Nick. Let's go this way.
Hi, Gareth. Just wondering how you assess the two lads who made their debuts from the start today, James and Jarrod. I mean, it was a difficult first half, especially for James, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think a couple of passes went astray, and he got caught defensively early on, and that's a big test in those moments. So he also was feeling something a little bit in his calf, which hopefully is okay. But I felt we wanted to put Bukayo on at that stage anyway. We were give ourselves a little bit more of an attacking thrust. So look, it's not easy to come in after 3-4 days and go straight into the team. Normally we would do that process slightly differently. You'd start on the bench, you'd have a bit longer with us, we'd blood people in, but we felt we wanted to do that today. I think Jarrod adapted really well. He looked dangerous from the start. He probably had most of our attempts on goal. Couldn't quite find that final bit of quality to actually steer the finishes past the keeper. But his runs were dangerous. He pressed with endeavour for the team. So I'm sure he'll be really pleased with the way he's done.
Okay, everybody, I have to wrap it up there. Thank you very much.
Okay.